China's naval evolution has progressed from the coal dust of the 19th century to hypersonic missile trucks, yet it has never constructed a modern battleship like the Yamato or Iowa. Notably, while lacking domestically produced dreadnoughts or fast battleships, China did create one significant armored capital ship in the late 1800s during the sail-to-steam transition. We're kicking this loadout off with the Lone Wolf, the Ping Yuan. This is the ironclad coastal battleship. While the rest of the world was buying their heavy hitters from British and German yards, the Qing dynasty decided to forge this brawler right at home. Built at the Foochow Arsenal in 1888, the Ping Yuan was the first and only large armored ship designed and constructed entirely within China during the imperial era. It wasn't a blue water giant. It was a literal nightmare designed to guard the coastline. Let's break down the hardware that made the Ping Yuan a threat. The 260mm Krupp cannon. This was the main event. Mounted in a forward barbette, this massive German-designed artillery piece was the knockout punch. In an era where engagement ranges were basically point blank, this gun allowed the Ping Yuan to crack open enemy hulls with a single well-placed heavy shell. It was slow, it was heavy, but when it connected, it turned wood and iron into shrapnel. The 150mm Krupp secondary battery. You can't fight a war with just one gun. Flanking the main battery, these guns were the workhorses for volume of fire. They provided the rate of fire needed to suppress enemy decks and disable lighter cruisers that tried to outmaneuver the slow-moving ironclad, the steel-faced armor belt. This is what separated the Ping Yuan from a standard gunboat. We're talking about a defensive layout capable of eating incoming fire from standard naval artillery of the 1890s. It wasn't invincible, but it gave the crew a fighting chance to close the distance and deliver that 260mm payload. The reciprocating steam engines, the heart of the beast. We aren't talking about gas turbines or nuclear reactors here. This was coal-shoveling, sweat-drenched manual labor. These engines pushed the steel hull through the water at roughly 10.5 knots. It wasn't winning any drag races, but it had enough torque to get the gun to the fight. Now, we have to talk about where this metal was forged. The Foochow Arsenal, also known as Maui. This wasn't just a shipyard, it was the cradle of Chinese industrial ambition. In the late 19th century, building a ship like the Ping Yuan locally was like trying to build a space shuttle in a garage. It required a massive leap in metallurgy, engineering, and logistics. The fact that this ship floated and fought is a testament to the engineers who refused to just buy off the shelf. But to understand the Ping Yuan, you have to look at the giants it sailed with. These are the honorary entries, the heavyweights that flew the flag but were stamped Made in Germany. The Ding Yuan. This was the flagship, a turret ship built by Stettner Vulcan AG in Germany. In the 1880s, this was arguably one of the most powerful warships on the planet. It featured 14-inch compound armor that was virtually impervious to the guns of the time. It was the blunt instrument of the Beiyang fleet, the Zhen Yuan, the twin sister to the Ding Yuan. These two ships were the boogeymen of the Asian Pacific. They weren't built in China, but they defined the Chinese doctrine. Big guns, heavy armor, and a philosophy of intimidation. They were the shield that the Ping Yuan operated behind. Now, let's shift gears to the combat application. How did this hardware hold up when the diplomacy failed? The Battle of the Yalu River, 1894. This was the kinetic test. The Ping Yuan, alongside its German-built cousins, squared off against the Imperial Japanese Navy. This wasn't a clean, over-the-horizon missile exchange. This was a messy, coal-choked slugfest at visual range. The combat performance. Despite being slower and obsolete compared to the Japanese cruisers, the Ping Yuan proved it could take a beating. It scored hits on the Japanese flagship Matsushima, proving that its 260mm main gun wasn't just for show. It landed a kinetic strike that, had the fuse functioned properly, could have decapitated the enemy command structure. It survived the battle, a testament to that Foochow steel. The capture and rebranding. War is a winner-take-all game. After the defeat at Wei Hai Wei, the Ping Yuan was captured. The Japanese Navy admired the ruggedness of this coastal brawler enough to commission it into their own fleet as the Haiyan. It served its former enemies for a decade, a strange twist of fate for the only capital ship built by the Qing dynasty. The final destination. The Haiyan, formerly Ping Yuan, met its end in the Russo-Japanese War in 1904. It didn't die in a gunfight, it hit a mine. A sudden violent end to a pioneering piece of naval engineering. Fast forward to the modern era. If you look at the People's Liberation Army Navy plan today, the term battleship is dead, but the mission of the battleship dominating a sector of ocean with overwhelming firepower is very much alive. We are trading rifled barrels for vertical launch systems. Let's look at the spiritual successors, the Type 055 Renhai class. The media calls it a destroyer, NATO calls it a cruiser, but let's call it what it really is, a capital surface combatant. At 13,000 tons, this is the modern answer to the dreadnought. It doesn't need 16-inch guns because it carries a payload that can reach out and touch a target hundreds of miles away. The 112-cell VLS. This is the modern broadside. Instead of a salvo of shells, the Type 055 ripples off a mixed loadout of anti-ship, anti-air, and land attack cruise missiles. It provides a saturation of fire that a WWII battleship commander couldn't even hallucinate. The YJ-21 hypersonic anti-ship missile. This is the main gun of the 21st century. We're talking about a kinetic weapon moving at Mach numbers that make interception a mathematical nightmare. It transforms the Type 055 from a defensive escort into a hunter-killer capable of threatening carrier strike groups. The H/PJ 38 130mm naval gun. It's not a battleship cannon, but don't sleep on it. This dual-purpose gun can spit out high explosive shells at a rate that allows it to shred surface targets or create a wall of flak against aerial threats. It's the CQC tool for when things get too close for missiles. The Type 1130CIWS. The last line of defense. This is a rotary cannon on steroids. It spins up to dump 10,000 rounds per minute, creating a tungsten wall of lead to vaporize incoming sea-skimming missiles. It's the modern equivalent of the deck gunners on the old ironclads, but fully automated and terrified of nothing. The Type 003 Fujian aircraft carrier. While not a battleship, this is the new flagship. It represents the same leap in industrial capability that the Ping Yuan represented in 1888. Electromagnetic catapults, EMALS, massive displacement, and built entirely domestically. It signals the shift from a green water coastal defense force to a blue water power projection navy. Let's talk about the weapons systems that support these heavy hitters. The YJ-18, the standard anti-ship workhorse. It cruises subsonic to save fuel and then goes supersonic in the terminal phase, performing evasive maneuvers to punch through air defense nets. It's a smart weapon for a modern battlefield. The HHQ-9 long-range SAM. The Umbrella. This system denies airspace to the enemy, creating a no-go zone around the fleet. It allows the surface ships to operate without getting hammered from above. The Z-9 and Z-20 helicopters. The eyes and ears. Just like the Ping Yuan relied on spotters in the crow's nest, modern Chinese capital ships rely on rotary wing aviation to push their sensor range over the horizon and hunt submarines. Now let's look at the what-ifs, the paper tigers, the projects that never were. During the early 20th century, there were various proposals and dreams of China buying or building true dreadnoughts to replace the lost Beiyang fleet. But civil war, invasion, and lack of funds kept these as blueprints. The Ping Yuan remains the sole survivor of the domestic battleship dream until the modern missile cruiser era. So how do we classify the history of Chinese battleships? It's a history of one genuine attempt at an ironclad coastal battleship, the Ping Yuan. Two legendary German imports, the Ding Yuan and Zhen Yuan, and a century-long gap before the reemergence of heavy naval tonnage in the form of the Type 055. The Ping Yuan proves that the ambition was there. The engineers at Foochow Arsenal were pushing the limits of what their industrial base could handle. They built a ship that could eject big shells, take a hit, and fight in the line of battle. In the context of 1888, that was a massive achievement. Comparing the Ping Yuan to the Type 055 shows the evolution of warfare itself. We went from riveted iron hulls to radar-absorbent materials, from coal-fired boilers to gas turbines, from visual-range gunnery to over-the-horizon radar, from dumb iron cannonballs to hypersonic glide vehicles. But the core philosophy remains the same: denial of sea control. The Ping Yuan was built to stop foreign navies from dominating China's coast. The Type 055 is built to push that defensive perimeter out to the second island chain and beyond. The hardware changes, but the mission remains static. The torpedo boat threat. Back in the day, the Ping Yuan had to worry about small, fast torpedo boats rushing in to deliver a lethal payload. Today, the Type 055 has to worry about drone swarms and unmanned surface vessels. The threat profile has evolved, but the danger of asymmetric warfare is exactly the same: damage control. On the Ping Yuan, damage control meant shoring up timbers and shoveling coal faster. On modern planned ships, it's automated fire suppression and redundant digital networks. But when the steel starts flying, it still comes down to the crew's ability to keep the ship fighting. The logistics chain. The Ping Yuan was tethered to friendly ports for coal. It couldn't venture far. Modern planned ships are supported by the Type 901 comprehensive supply ship. These massive floating warehouses allow the combat ships to stay on station indefinitely, refueling and rearming at sea. This is the key enabler that transforms a coastal defense force into a global navy. To wrap this up, if you are a naval historian, you respect the Ping Yuan not because it was the best ship of its time. It wasn't. You respect it because it was a statement. It was a declaration that China intended to build its own security rather than just buy it. And if you are looking at the current strategic picture, you have to respect the Type 055. It isn't a battleship by definition, but in terms of kinetic energy and battlefield impact, it is the rightful heir to the ironclad throne. From the Foochow Arsenal to the Jiangnan shipyard, from the 260mm Krupp gun to the YJ-21 hypersonic, from coastal defense to blue water dominance. That is the timeline, that is the hardware, and that is the reality of the Chinese battleship.